This is the Sales Gravy Podcast. Hi, I'm Jeb Blunt, best-selling author of Fanatical Prospecting, Objections, Sales EQ, and Inked, and I'm here to help you open more doors, close bigger deals, and rock your commission check. On this episode, I'm going to discuss an important selling opportunity as we head into the final selling period of the year. There is no doubt that this has been a strange year. With the election, inflation, and so much uncertainty, a lot of businesses held back on spending, even though, as a whole, the economy was pretty good. Now that the election is over, though, these same businesses have budget left over that they need to spend before the end of the year because they weren't spending it at the beginning of the year. And the good news is that the executives and owners that run these businesses are suddenly in a very good mood. Over the past few weeks, I've been in multiple states and cities asking business leaders how they're feeling now that the election is over. And the responses have been overwhelmingly positive. People are feeling good. Many are enthusiastic about the economy and the future. And most tell me that their sales are booming following the election. I've also had my sales team calling our customers and asking specifically about leftover training budget that needs to be spent by the end of the year. And the strategy is working. We have the largest pipeline we've had in years and have inked more big deals in the last 3 weeks than we have in the last 3 months, with many more to come. Last week, I was working with one of my clients and out with one of their sales reps in the field, and we called on one of his large conquest accounts. The rep was frustrated because every proposal he'd given them had stalled in the pipeline. He said, "I just can't get them to pull the trigger and make a decision." Before we walked in, I coached the rep to ask his contact, "How do you feel about business now that the election is over?" After the rep asked the question, his contact, who was the director of operations, lit up. Business was booming, he said. Many of his customers who had had their hands tied by budget constraints earlier in the year were now spending. And 4 hours after our visit, the contact called the rep to say that his boss had given him budget to spend by the end of the year and then placed an order for almost $1 million. So here's the moral to this story. If you're in sales or a business owner, now is the time to reach out to your customers, engage them in a dialogue about how they are feeling post-election, and find the money that is out there and needs to be spent by the end of the year. And don't overcomplicate this. Initiate the conversation by asking about their post-election outlook. This will naturally lead to a discussion about their immediate needs and leftover budget and how your product, service, or software can help them utilize their remaining budget effectively. But move fast because the clock is ticking. And once this year is over, today's leftover budget will be gone forever. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Sales Gravy Podcast. And look, if you like the podcast and if this message hit home, give it 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. And please tell a friend about the Sales Gravy Podcast because our entire marketing budget is your word of mouth.